Old go-to-market strategies don't work. Traditional inbound, product-led growth, sales, whatever the case is, they aren't working in 2024. And there's a lot of reasons why. Ad costs are going up. AI is changing the game of content marketing. You're investing a ton of dollars into getting traffic to the website. Conversions are going down. Competition is growing. The list goes on and on. And there needs to be a new approach to this. There needs to be a new approach to combat the traditional go-to-market funnel. And most SaaS and B2B tech companies in general are using inbound or product-led growth. So let's talk about why inbound doesn't work before I get to the new approach. One is ads are expensive. I already mentioned that. Typically, you go from an ad to a lead magnet. Could be a cheesy ebook, whatever the case might be. It could be a free trial, whatever. Then you go to an SDR qualification, and there's a number of reasons why this doesn't work anymore. Some of the most irritating calls I've ever been on are where someone's trying to qualify me and not providing any value whatsoever, not answering any questions whatsoever. It ruins the sales cycle. It's not relational. It's often scripted. It's a bunch of garbage. And by the way, if you're doing research on products, they'll pretty much disqualify you unless you're ready to buy now. I just wrote a post earlier today on LinkedIn about how salespeople aren't selling anymore. They're order takers. They're essentially saying, hey, if you're not interested right now, ready to buy, I'm not qualifying you, which is asinine. Next, you go to a demo with an account executive. Problem is they're often scripted. It's often a demo where they're talking at you the whole time. It's very boring and it's not relational. You tend to have very low conversion rates at that point. The average sales rep closes 15 to 20% of their deals. I tend to close about 72 to 74% depending on the month. My clients are typically around 30 to 40%. Obviously, this is what I do for a living. I should always be a little bit better than who I'm actually working with. And then you end up with a close loss opportunity and a very high customer acquisition cost. This just doesn't work anymore. And I gave you a litany of reasons why. Now, what I want to do is introduce you to the engage lead activation GTM approach. This is very different. Number one, we start with intent-based inbound. For example, at Identity Matrix, we target people that are using crappy competitors like Lead Forensics, RB2B, etc. I'm not just going to dump on all of them. They build cool tech, but we do it better. You get website traffic, and then you analyze their behavior. Once they're in the sales funnel, you start drip nurturing content to pique their curiosity. It needs to be value-driven content. Oh, I didn't think about that. When you start to get leads to think, they tend to find you as a thought leader. Even if you're not answering questions, if you're the one asking questions and getting thought-provoking responses, boom, now you're at it. Next is drip case studies and references, etc., build credibility as they go through the funnel. And then you have close one. But notice that I only talked about the top half of the equation. It's a very traditional sales cycle. Let's talk about the bottom half. If somebody's been on your site for 3 seconds, they're probably not that engaged and maybe not worth a call. But if somebody's been on your website across all different pages with a high lead score, even though they're anonymous right now, that indicates very good engagement, right? Maybe they didn't have the courage yet to reach out. Maybe they're still doing their due diligence. But at the end of the day, they are somewhat interested. They're showing intent. What you want to do then is de-anonymize visitors altogether. Now, there's a couple of different tools that can do that. We obviously think we do it the best at Identity Matrix. We de-anonymize 50% of US traffic. That's insane. We give mobile phone numbers, lead scores, et cetera, et cetera. So now it's not, okay, this individual that I see in GA4 was all over the website for 32 minutes. It's Tom Smith or Bob Smith. I'm going to go with that again. Or Sally Jones. I want to call this person. I have all their data. They're in my ICP. They were all over the site, but they didn't yet reach out. So I'm going to pick up the phone and do warm outreach. I'm going to cold email them, but it's really more like warm email them because they're already familiar with your company. Especially if you're doing this in real time or within 24 hours, it's a game changer. If you only email them and you do not pick up the phone and call, if you're not using LinkedIn, if you're not also retargeting them and being omnipresent, so to speak, then it's not going to work the same way. Then you go into relational selling. Okay, I'm going to go back to what I said before. People are counting leads as unqualified simply if they're not ready to buy right here, right now, this damn second. And that's not sales. My belief is that you have a moral and ethical obligation to close somebody if you believe that, one, you can truly provide value. If not, refer them to somebody else. Number two, you believe that they do have the funding to be able to do it, even if they say, hey, my budget's already set, whatever. You always have flexibility in a budget to move it around and say, okay, this isn't working as well as what this cool tool or this approach or whatever you're doing is offering. I'm going to make prospects feel heard. The best sales reps shut up during their call. They ask thought-provoking questions. They get their prospect to look at them as a thought leader. That is how you close deals. And then what do you end up with when you're doing these two things, the top and bottom row simultaneously? You end up with close one deals, 30, 40, 50% average close rate. And because of that, you have a much lower customer acquisition cost. Traditional go-to-market strategies are dead. We need to move over to an approach that takes into account behavior, data, analytics, de-anonymization, relational selling, something that combines all of these into one strategy. And that's why we created the Engage Lead Activation strategy. It's not predicated on using identity matrix. This is the Kool-Aid that we drink over here and have great results with. It's what our clients do, but ultimately you could do this yourself. You could do it with a different tool, whatever the case might be. But try the ELA method and see drastic improvements in conversion rates and CAC.